Okay. Okay. I will start soon. I will just allow people to come in. I think it's need to send out a bit. Okay, we'll start shortly. Okay, so I will just start. I do not want to keep us waiting. So welcome to Introduction to M&E. My name is Ojugo Ajunwa. I think I'm seeing Dong in here. Dong, are you in here? If you're in here, say hello. We've started. I would make the recording available for those that may have missed out on it. I think some more people are joining in. Okay. So welcome if you've just joined in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll start in 2 minutes. Welcome. Welcome if you're just joining in. Ifeanyi, you're welcome. Dong, Edric Tech, you're welcome. You've been attending the webinars. That's amazing. I hope you've been getting value from it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, welcome. How is the lockdown at your, oh, sorry, the post-lockdown? Are you?
It's okay. We thank God for the post-lockdown. We are grateful for the federal government for doing that as well.
That's awesome. Dong, are you at work? Welcome, Dong. I can see Dong typing in the chat. Wadzani, you're welcome. Wow, you make time to be here. That's amazing. Okay. Efanga, you're welcome. Sam Ken. Wow, amazing. We have a full house. Welcome. Is this the Efanga I know? Efanga. Is this the Efanga I know? If it is, say hello to me now in the chat. Welcome. Don says he's at home. Don, why now? You didn't go to work today. Okay. So welcome. Let me just send the last, last reminders to people that wanted to participate. He says he loves himself more. Wear your masks. I think they told us to wear our masks. Don't wear your masks and go. Okay, we'll start shortly. I just wanted to make sure my last minute, reminders have gone off.
Okay, I can hear you, yes.
Okay, so welcome.
My washing machine just due yesterday.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, so I think we've tried to wait for them to come in. I do not want to waste time. It's going to be short, but then it's going to really be...
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, done. So welcome everyone. Welcome. My name is Ojugo Ajonwa. Okay, that's awesome. So we can put on our microphone, as we introduce ourselves when we get there. So welcome to the Intro to Monitoring and Evaluation webinar. It's going to be a mini webinar, in 1 hour or less. I'm sure we should have wrapped it up. So I'm coming to you from Ritetrac Consulting. Ritetrac was founded in 2009. We do several things ranging from client portfolios, small businesses, multinationals, the public sector, and the non-governmentals. So our services include things like consultancy, training, certification, exam prep, both in person, classroom, and online. I think online is taking over these days. Then we also do things like software application implementation. We look at your processes and improve it, and then we do loads of learning management consulting. Our promise to you, if you stick through the webinar, is that you will take away an understanding of what monitoring and evaluation really is. We'll understand high level, some important concepts. Why do you need to build an M&E career? We'll look at skills the M&E personnel needs to develop success stories, and then I'll make an offer at the end, and we'll do some Q&A as well. So let's take introductions. If you would like to turn on your microphone, tell us your name, your location, and your interest in we have project management because it encompasses all of that in the M&E industry. And are you already having a career in it, or you want to start? So if you would like the chat, you can drop that information on the chat. If you would want to turn on your microphone, please feel free to do so. The floor is open. I hope we know where the chat is. Just look for something buzzing somewhere. So welcome everyone. It's introduction time. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, hello, good everyone. Good day, everyone.
Stanley, you're welcome. It's introduction time, like I said. So please feel free to introduce yourself or use the chat.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who is speaking, please?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm Ifeanyi Ndubisi.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes, Pastor, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you, Pastor.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon. I just joined in today.
Okay.
And I think yeah, I will get used to, I will be able to pick up something when you begin anyway. This is my first time of joining the Zoom.
Okay,
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go ahead. I cannot hear your introductions. I do not know why.
Hello.
You can use the chat. Hello.
My name is Ibrahim Dung.
Okay, Ibrahim, you're welcome.
I'm currently in Jos, not in Abuja.
Okay, wow.
Due to the lockdown of COVID-19.
Yes, you better not allow once it's special. So I'm joining.
And by virtue of what I do in the office, we are eagerly on monitoring and evaluation from time to time based on different projects. I have no clue, but all I do is to fill a template.
Okay.
I think with this, I should be able to know what exactly I need as a monitoring officer or as someone who needs a career in that aspect.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So welcome. Thank you for joining in. You're in the right place. Engineer Paul, you're welcome. You could introduce yourselves. I will allow us to do this for another minute or two, and then we can move ahead. You can use the chat or your microphone. Blessing, Eze, you're welcome. I think we're having more people join. Dotun, you're welcome. Okay, while we all settle in, if you feel like introducing yourself and your interest in M&E, do feel free and use the chat. So again, my name is Ojugo Ajonwa. A few of us in the room already know me. I'm sure Don is like, Don, how many years now? Maybe 10 years or more. We've known each other, and I think he's done some programs with us and a few more people in the room. So welcome to this session. My name is Ojugo. I'm a project management consultant and trainer for the past 19 years. My roles have been in training, edutech, making sure that education can be done using technology, software implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and then event management. I'm an author of a book called Lessons Learned Managing Projects in Nigeria, and a co-author of another book called A Day in the Life of a Project Manager. And we did that alongside 50 other project managers across the world. Both books are available on Amazon. I contributed to a project called the OSAP MDG. If you can remember when we had the MDG goals, I contributed to the project management guidelines for the Office of the Presidency. I'm a co-founder at Ritetrac Consulting, where we help organizations deliver their projects using project management best practices. And if you would love to follow me after this session, please feel free to join me on LinkedIn. I hope we're on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn and what it stands for. Welcome if you're just joining in. I noticed some more people may have joined in. Marian, you're welcome. Who else? Daudu Olu, you're welcome. So welcome to this session. We've just finished with the introductions. You could introduce yourself as well in the comments. So I was introduced to the project management profession by my former boss. And I pursued that career path passionately. Someone says I'm the first lady of project management in Nigeria, and I cannot say he's wrong, because there were really few women in that space at that time, so many years ago. I've worked in IT project management over the span of 19 years and cutting across several sectors like banking, pension administration, the financial sector, event management sector, and educational services. Most of these projects were funded by the federal government of Nigeria. Some of the projects have cut across diverse ethnic, cultural, and religious background. With, sometimes we even work with teams that are not in our location. Sometimes they could be somewhere in India, South Africa, etc. Technology was always the bridge, or the leverage for most of my projects. In this session, I'm throwing more light on building an M&E career. You can do it. You will take home a good understanding of next steps to building an enduring career. So let's do a bit of housekeeping to get the best out of this session. Like I said, it's going to be, short, straightforward, but you're going to go away with a lot of value. Do turn off your notifications. I know you have messages on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Your television may be on if you're working from home. Do turn them off, get a journal, and be ready to engage in this valuable conversation. Would have, times where I'll do the Q&A, would even have a take-home assignment, so that at the end of it, you take home something you can do to remind you of the webinar. So let's hit the road running. A quick poll. The questions usually would like you to use the chat, or just use the chat, because I don't want it to go on and on to answer. Have you conducted an M&E assessment on a project or business before? Then what industry are you in? How many years of experience do you have? So do share with us. I would allow 3 to 5 minutes. I hope we're listening. Did we hear that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes,
9 years. Dong says 9 years. Okay. What industry? Dong is in the oil and gas sector.
correct.
Hello.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
By grace of God, the area of ICT,
Okay.
software developer, have been for the 12 years.
12 years, okay. Have you done anything M&E before?
Actually, no.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I've not done too.
Okay.
I work in oil and gas.
Sorry?
Yes, I also work in oil and gas. I'm also in the oil and gas sector.
Okay.
But I've never done this M&E. I've never conducted any of it, so I would like to learn and then
Okay, that's
understanding.
amazing. Okay, that's fine. So welcome.
Well, just
People
like I
are not
said,
talking or typing.
I said just like I said in the introduction when I was introducing myself, I did several of this.
Okay.
And we're usually being given templates to go out to the field, to all the different project sites, and call them based on certain parameters that we're given. So you're more or less working like a robot, because you do not have a background in the actual monitoring and evaluation thing.
Okay.
All you're doing is more like stamping. So, but this, I'm hoping that they should give one a deeper insight to how one
Well,
can add value.
high level overview. So you were
Yes.
doing more of M&E plan, you know, filling in the templates that were given
Exactly.
to you. Okay, that's
Exactly.
interesting.
Yeah.
Dotun says 9 years, telecom. Wow, that's good. Marian, are you in here? I can see you. M&E. Marian says IT. Okay, have you done anything M&E? Wow, Mariam, wow, 20 years. That's interesting. 20 years IT. Okay. Jubrin, you're welcome. I think we still have more people coming. So we're doing like a quick poll. Felix, you're welcome. Okay. So at least we have a feel of the room and, you know, everyone in here. So I think we're all in the right place. So we would head into the first session. So we'll be talking about.
Did you want me to speak?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Fine. It would have been great to hear your voice. We wanted to know, have you done anything in M&E, like on your project?
Yes, well, I've worked as a project manager myself, and I've worked with some project managers in the past, but it's not necessarily my forte.
Okay.
But I've been exposed to it for quite some time. It's not an area that I've actually gone into, but we have to do it within a project anyway.
Okay.
Part of it.
That's interesting. And you
especially
know,
as a business analyst.
Okay, that's fine. You know, sometimes we think M&E is for the NGOs. It's even for your business. You know, so sometimes you check in. Someone says you can't manage what you cannot measure. So if you can't measure the goals, the targets, you will not be able to manage it.
Oh, okay, that's what you're calling it. So I call that KPIs, you know, our KPIs.
Okay,
so
key performance indicators.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. You know,
or CSF is critical success factors as well.
Yes, every industry has their language, but bottom line is that you're checking in. You know, you're checking in to be sure, am I on the right track? Am I on the right path, you know, with what we are trying to achieve? So I will go into like an overview of what M&E is, the purpose and the process. So monitoring, the first part of it is the systematic collection, analyzing, using information to track your program's progress or your project's progress or your initiative's progress. So you want to track, are we reaching the objectives we set? I think we could turn off our microphones, you know, till we get to another Q&A time. So you're checking in. So monitoring is checking in. How are we hitting the objectives we set? Evaluation is the systematic assessment of what we've done, the activities we've carried out, the project, the program, the strategy, you know, and all of that, the topic, the theme. You're checking in to assess, did we accomplish, you know, what we expected out of it? So evaluation focuses on expected and achieved accomplishments, examining the results chain. When we get to the log frame, I will talk about that in, you know, like in more details. You're looking in at your project inputs, your activities, the outputs, the outcomes, the impacts. So like I would do in class, monitoring is when maybe the doctor tells you check your blood pressure. So you're writing it down, you know, 120 over 70 or 135 over, you know, it varies with age and, you know, gender and all of that. Evaluation is when you give him maybe for the past 14 days, these are my readings, my blood pressure readings, you know, and the person can make sense out of that information. Why do we, you know, go ahead to take a look at M&E? What are the benefits? M&E would show project progress. How far have you gone? It allows actors as stakeholders in the project to learn from each other's experience, to build on expertise and knowledge, because you're exchanging information. Knowledge is so important for organizations to build. It also provides a more robust basis for you to raise funds and even influence policy, you know, because the funders, project funders want to be sure, you know, that what they are putting their money in, somebody can account for those, you know, expenses made and results, you know, that you get out of it. It provides a basis for questioning and testing assumption. It also provides a means for agencies that want to learn from their experiences to incorporate them into policy and practice. It generates reports that contribute to transparency and accountability. I remember the last webinar we had when we did introduction to project management. Someone said, you know, a project, after they did the pilot phase, you know, and moved into the real thing, the project was going haywire, you know, they were not able to actually do exactly what they wanted to do. And guess what? That project was canceled. So most sponsors want you to stay accountable, stay transparent, you know, with how you're spending the project resources, time, money, and all of that. So M&E provides opportunities for feedback with the stakeholders, especially your beneficiaries, so that they provide input into and perceptions of your work. It helps to model openness to criticism, you know, and then willingness to learn from the experience, adapt to changing needs, and so on. It helps to promote and celebrate your work by highlighting, oh, these are the things you accomplished on this project. It builds the morale of your team members and then contributes to resource mobilization. So M&E is basically ongoing reporting, reflection, learning. Sorry, my image is, I don't know how, maybe it was because it was overstretched, but then we'll try to make sense of it with the explanations on the other side. So we said ongoing reporting, reflection, learning, you know, so that's what happens with your M&E process. There is initial assessment, planning, then implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, and then you keep at it. You know, sometimes some projects are not short-lived. Some projects could last 5 years, and you need to conduct M&E, you know, activities on them. So let's look at the process. The first one is your initial needs assessment. Before you go into any project, this is done to determine whether this project is even needed. And if so, inform its planning. You know, so you need to go into, if it's like a community project, is this our project really needed? What has been done before? So you're checking in to see as is, current situation. If we inject this new project, will it solve problems? Then you have the log frame and indicators. So this involves the operational design of that project or program. You know, the objectives you've set, indicators you may have set, and then how you would verify, you know, your achievements and then your assumptions. Then the next one is your M&E planning. So this is the practical planning for the program or project to monitor and evaluate, you know, the objectives and indicators you set. Then there is baseline study, another process. Here you measure the initial conditions, like I've just said, as is, before you start the project. Baseline, what do we have on ground? And then you set your appropriate indicators. Next is that you do your, you know, as the project kicks off now, you do what we call the midterm evaluation. Like children go on midterm break. So if it's a 5-year project, 2.5 years into it, midterm evaluation or reviews. So these are important reflection events. You can do that with your teams and stakeholders to access and inform, you know, how this project implementation is going on. Is it going as planned? And guess what? If it's not going as planned, you retrace your steps. And then the sixth one is your final evaluation. So this occurs after project program completion to assess, okay, have we achieved our intended objectives? What difference has this project made? Then the seventh one is dissemination and use of your lessons. This informs ongoing programming, you know, so it involves reporting, reflection, you know, checking through the whole project, the whole cycle of it. You know, what happened when we conducted this project? What lessons did we learn? Lessons learned could be what positive lessons did we learn as a result of this project, or what negative lessons, you know, did we learn as a result of this project? So that's the process, like, you know, an overview of the process of conducting M&E activities. Really high level, I'm sure you would say, you know, but of course, in our programs, we go into more details. So this is best practices and concept section. So what are the best practices when conducting monitoring activities? Monitoring data should be well focused. You know, it must be well focused to specific audiences, and it uses only what is necessary and sufficient. That means you must tailor your data collection to exactly what you're looking out for. Monitoring should be systematic, based upon predetermined indicators, you know, and assumptions. So that means you must set your indicators and then use it to trace how you're moving. Monitoring should look for unanticipated changes with the project, the program, and its context, including any changes in project assumptions or risks, you know, and then you adjust your implementation plans. So sometimes you may want to carry out a project, but there are unanticipated things that come out because of that project. So sometimes if that unanticipated change is not what you really want, you need to adjust your plans. So that's part of best practice in monitoring. Monitoring also needs to be timely so that information can be readily used, you know, to inform the project or program implementation. So your monitoring efforts must be timely. No medicine after death. You know, you want it to be happening when you need it to happen. So whenever possible, monitoring should also be participatory, involving your key stakeholders. This can not only reduce costs, but it would help them. Sorry, someone's microphone is on. Please, you could turn it off. You know, you could mute yourself so that it could allow you to converse if you need to. Okay, so like I was saying, monitoring should be participatory, involving your key stakeholders. So this can not only reduce costs, but it would help build understanding and ownership. You know, if all the key stakeholders involved are participating in the monitoring exercise. Monitoring information is not only for project and program management. You know, it can be shared with your beneficiaries, with the donors, and any other relevant stakeholders. So these are, like, you know, best practices for monitoring activities. So a bit of recap, I talked about what monitoring was, you know, what the purpose of monitoring is, what evaluation was. Then we looked at the process, and then we are now looking at best practices. So the next one is to take a look at our logical framework. I'm sure you've heard people talk about the log frame, or you even use it in your own organization. So monitoring and evaluation, if you ask me, is equals to logical framework. So the log frame is your tool for program, you know, building your program concept, designing it, and carrying out your M&E activities. Just like you would have a project plan. For M&E, it is the log frame. Of course, there are other methodologies different organizations would use, but this is like the standard, you know, and all of that. So you have this pyramid, and the first step says inputs. Next step says activities. Third step says outputs, outcomes.
No, I don't.
Sorry, someone saying something? Okay, let me go on. So inputs are all the things you're putting in together to execute your project. So it could be finance, personnel, materials, and then things to ask, questions to ask at this point. Monitoring questions to ask is, are we getting what we need for the project in the right quantities and quality? Really important for inputs. You know, so once you ask this type of questions, you're making sure that you're getting the right finance, you know, because your project cannot kickstart without funds. You know, you're getting the right personnel. If you need someone with a PhD, you know, to do the project for you, do you have that kind of resource? If you need volunteers up to 30, do you have that quantity, you know, of personnel to work with you on that project? And so on. Then the next is activities. Activities being implemented on schedule and within budget. That means you must have your plan, you know, and you must follow a plan. Have your phases, you know, phases of the project, and make sure that your tasks or activities are following the schedule and stays within budget. Then another question to ask, are your activities also leading to your expected outputs? You know, these things we are doing, are they leading to the outputs we expect from this project? You know, initially your project must have a goal, you know, a goal you set out for. Then for outputs, questions to ask within that and outcomes are, how do your beneficiaries feel about the work? Let me add something here. Outputs would happen, you know, like almost immediately, but outcomes could take years. Like I said, if it was a 5-year project, the outcome may not even happen in the 6th year. It could happen 7 years, you know, or 3 years after that project, you know, and so on. So outcomes are longer term, you know, things that would happen as a result of your project. So are your outputs leading to the achievement of your outcomes? And then you have your goal. So measuring changes at goal level is a longer term time frame thing, you know, so it's dealt with by evaluation and not monitoring. So goals are like maybe 10 years after you did polio eradication, there is no more polio in that community, for instance. I'm just using that as an example. Then next is another concept. I'm sure we also hear this a lot, indicators. Indicators. I would love to use an example, you know, of normal things we do. Driving on the highway, you have your traffic lights. So those serve as clues, signs, or markers. Like children will say, red means stop, yellow means wait, and green means go, go, go. You know, so indicators are clues and signs that show how close you are to your goals and outcomes. So indicators must be set for every project, because like we said, you can't manage what you can't measure. I'm sure Dawn, conducting M&E, you know, in your ministry, most times is they want to know whether you're achieving set goals and targets, you know, at the end of the day. So indicators are realistic and measurable criteria of project progress. So you define them even before the project starts, and it allows you to monitor or evaluate whether the project does what it says it will do. In project planning, indicators form the link between theory and practice. So an indicator is a tool to help you know whether your work is making a difference. So you're observing changes that occur because of your project intervention with your indicator. They provide the evidence that something has happened, whether you delivered an outcome or an immediate effect occurred or a long-term change was observed. So indicators, you can just note if you're journaling down, is a means to measure change. Examples of practical indicators, for example, GDP growth for the next 4 years in Nigeria. Most times we do that as percentages. So sometimes you could have indicators as ratios, percentages, and so on. So 2015 GDP was 2.7, 2016 1.6, 2017 0.8. I think this was when there was what's it called again? Recession. So the GDP dipped, and then 2018 2.1. Who knows, 2019, I think we improved a bit, but with the COVID, the pandemic, I think it's dipping again, So indicators are clues showing whether, there is growth in a particular thing we're doing, there is improvement in a particular thing we're doing. So M&E, really, really important. You see, my cartoon characters say, someone says, M&E is not just something you do to please your project donor. So it's an integral part of your project. Everyone on the project must be part of it. The partner, the community, people in research, people in budgets, people in learning, in design, of course, the M&E person, the actors, and so on. So M&E is something everybody participates in. It's an integral part of your project. It's not an afterthought, because people would not, I think someone is buzzing in the chat. Please kindly mute. Okay. Okay, please do mute yourselves if you've just joined in. Delight, have you muted? Okay, I think most of us have muted ourselves. Okay, Sam, Ken, Felix, Delight, please do mute yourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. We'll turn it on when we get to the Q&A time. Okay, I hope we're still here with me. Any questions so far? I think I can take a few questions before I proceed to career paths, skills you need in M&E and so on. So it's question time. Question time. Share your questions in the comments and we'll take it. Okay, Stanley is raising his hand. You can turn on your microphone if you wish to. Okay, Stanley says it was lovely and concise. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you. Question time. If you have a question, please do feel free to share. Practical example on M&E. That's part of what I was sharing. I was just trying to build on, the definitions and the concept. Okay, for instance, if someone says eradicate COVID in Kano State, so you're going to build your log frame. What are your inputs, activities, outputs, outcome, impact? I'm just using that as an example. So you build your project plan around your log frame, and that would help you, check in as you progress on that particular project. I don't know how else to say it. I hope it's clear. Questions? Someone wants to contribute? Sam Ken, your microphone is on. Some people have not spoken. Oh. Any questions so far? I want to be sure we are here. Balshak, you're welcome. Question time. You can also introduce yourself if you just came in. We love to know, who you are. If you work in M&E already, you can also share that. Polycarp Ado, you're welcome. I didn't see you.
Hello?
Hello.
Are there preconceived like softwares for the M&E, or we have to build from scratch?
It depends. Many organizations have, the ones that they, already use. I think there is one called, have you heard about Ritetrac? I'm typing that in. There is Ritetrac, there is Minitab. Minitab is a quality.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about it.
Okay, quality management software. Because of course, you would also be dealing with data. There is a lot of work with data. So you could have some of your team members, look at the data you're getting from the field. There is also ODK, which is part of Open Data Kit, which is part of what we also teach. There is Tableau. I'm sure we may have heard about that. So those are tools, you can see that on the chart. Those are tools, you could use for your M&E effort. And if you're not heavy on data for your M&E, you could use any project management software. You could even use Microsoft, what's it called? Microsoft, what's this tool by Microsoft Projects? Microsoft Projects.
Microsoft Projects, yes.
Yes, and then web-based tools, there is Asana. You can use that as a collaborative tool with your team members, and a whole lorry load of them. Whatever fits your budget and, all of that. Balshak, you're welcome. Or you get the replay. Balshak, are you Nigerian? It sounds like an Indian name. Basic tools, I've just listed them. The ODK is a tool, even if you do not have internet or Wi-Fi as your team goes to the field, you can use the ODK tool. It's an app you can get on, is it the Android App Store? Balshak says he's Nigerian from Plateau State. That's interesting. Plateau people have beautiful names. So you're welcome. So we all get
we have generic names.
We have your names are so wonderful. Okay, so we'll all get the replay, when we are done. We'll put that up on our YouTube channel so you can get the replay and catch up with any parts you missed. So I would continue, like I said, we are watching our time and all of that. So M&E careers. So let's take a look at, some things that people do in this field. So this is like a sample job description. And guess what? M&E is is an in-demand career path. If you're thinking, oh, I want to veer off or pivot off what I do, you could look at the M&E job role and start preparing yourself towards it. Because like in Africa, in Nigeria, we do a lot of developmental work. So it's a beautiful time, to get into this area. It's still in its, like people are getting to understand and know it, Sponsors, project sponsors, like if a Bill and Melinda Gates gives you money, they expect that someone, that has competencies in monitoring and evaluation will also be there to report back, to them and so on. So this is like a sample, I may not read it all, a sample job description, you know, for M&E roles across, I think this was, where was this gotten from? I think USAID or something, you know, so this is their own job description for the M&E officer role and what the person is supposed to do. I may not read all of that just because of time, but I'll take a look at the responsibilities. So you would lead your project team in developing and implementing your own M&E system, and then oversee routine program monitoring activities. So you're ensuring the quality and relevance of your M&E design matches, you know, what the project needs you to do. Utilize collaborative learning and adaptive approach to continuously access project progress, and then inform your stakeholders on, you know, how it helps you make your decisions that you now use to inform your stakeholders. Provide support to performance evaluation process, you know, and you see that in conjunction with USAID and independent evaluation teams. Ensure quality of M&E data to be collected, you know, it's really up to par throughout your implementation process. Then participate in preparing and facilitating meetings with World Education, that's for that particular job. So you're doing things like documenting, assisting your team in data analysis, and like we said, with tools. I've mentioned some of those tools in the chat. You can take note of them. Train your staff or partner NGOs in data collection methodology so that everybody follows a particular method, you know, to collecting and analyzing data. Qualifications, 5 years professional experience, you know, in a senior M&E position, you know, and all of that. You must have your bachelor's degree. Even if you don't have in this field, if you have, like these days, certifications and training still counts. You know, even if you didn't read statistics or economics or international development, you know, a related field will still count. Proven success in designing, implementing, and operating M&E systems from project initiation to closeout. Now I'll add something. If you're not currently, you know, doing hands-on with M&E, you can volunteer on a project, you know, and participate with them. Volunteering experience also counts. Experience in strategic planning and performance measurement, including indicator selection, target setting, reporting, database management. Of course, you may not know every single thing, but having a bit of all of these would help. Knowledge of evaluation methodologies, qualitative, quantitative, mixed method, impact evaluation, and so on. Data collection, analysis methodologies, then experience in planning and managing surveys, experience in developing and refining your data collection tools, experience with data quality assessment and oversight, experience managing and providing, you know, M&E training to your field officers, then ability to facilitate and serve as a liaison, you know, for externally managed evaluation. So this was for that sample job role, you know, and so on. So a post-webinar assignment for you is to please turn on your job notification on LinkedIn. You know, really important. LinkedIn is a gold mine. You know, you can use it to turn on job notification for different countries. Maybe you want to work in Kenya or Ghana or Canada, you know, and all of that. You can turn on the job notification and then check out what you find over time. Look at the kind of job descriptions that are being showcased as what they want to hire for, and then build from today for that role. I think this is an excellent assignment and takeaway for most of us. Who is going to do it? If you're going to do it, type a yes in the chat. Type a yes in the chat. You're going to turn on notification. Type a yes. I want us to participate. Step-by-step procedures. Yes, we talk about that in depth, like in the class. Turn on notifications. You'll be surprised at what you may find. Turn on job notifications. Don't say, you know, I'm stuck in this job, LinkedIn can help you. You know, prepare for it, turn on your notifications. You'll be surprised at what you would find. Follow some of these organizations that conduct M&E as well. You know, companies also have pages on LinkedIn, so that's an added one. Follow them. I have a friend that has a lovely job right now, and she just followed this my career coaching tip to turn on her notification. Beautiful. Turn it on. You'll be surprised at what you find. Or you want to escape from Africa and go to Europe, turn on that notification. It works all the time. Someone says he already did that. Beautiful. So you can streamline the type of role you want. If it's a senior role, middle management role, entry role, you know, you could even find volunteering opportunities. You'll be so surprised. Some people have not written yes. I won't move on till I see our yeses. Turn on that notification. You know, you'll be surprised at what you would find. Okay. I love all our responses. Someone says, okay, Daoud, I said yes. Okay, so turn on notifications, really important. So this is a post-webinar assignment. Like I said, I'm also on LinkedIn as Ojugo Ajonwa. You can follow me. I would love to, you know, connect with you as well. If you also did get a lot of value from this, do share, you know, the value you got with us, either on LinkedIn or on the feedback form when we are done. Would really love to be sure you got something out of all of this. So M&E skills, very important ones. You must have excellent analytical skills. You know, you must be someone that loves data. In our last Tableau, because we actually did an introduction to Tableau webinar, we saw that data has surpassed oil. You know, Dong, I hope you know that data is the new gold. You know, so being able to analyze data is a very important skill. You know, you can self-teach yourself, attend the class, do whatever you can do, but get into data. Data, in fact, tell your children, it's no longer medicine and surgery. It's data, 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 data. People are looking for data experts everywhere. For instance, if Bill Gates puts in, like I saw somewhere on LinkedIn, he has voted in billions of dollars to find the cure for COVID. You know, he will want to be looking at data. Is that not so? Like we are seeing with the WHO, they are telling us 3 million point something people have, you know, so how many people are recovering, how many people are not making it, you know, and all of that. How many antigens have we gotten from people that recovered? So people are keeping data, analyzing it, predicting it, making sense out of it. So you must build on your data skills if you're going to be very relevant in this field. Ability to work in a team and good interpersonal skills, you have to build that as well. I don't know, I'm sure everybody here has computer application skills. If not, you won't be here on Zoom, you know, but then you must know your applications, play around tools. Every month for me, I always look at a new tool. You know, new tools are always out there. New apps, play around with them. You'll be surprised at what you would learn. You must be very organized to work in this field. Like I told people that I teach, you must always, like I tell people, you must always be able to document your things, document your plans, you know, have a routine for how you do your work. It would really, really help you to beat overwhelm, especially with M&E. Ability to deal with people with tact and diplomacy. Remember, sometimes you may go into villages to do this work. You may be talking with village chiefs, even touts, you know, the area boys and the area girls. So you must be able to know how to deal with them diplomatically. Ability to work independently with minimal supervision. because the people that employed you would not want to always be checking in, you know, so you should be able to work independently. Ability to work under time pressure and meet deadlines. Then ability to work in diversified environments, you know, with people from different places. So these are some excellent skills you need to have. I tried to research on salary scales for M&E, like the base level, the M&E officer. I hope we can see my screen. So this was what I found. Average salary per month for an officer, maybe someone that just has 3 years of experience. And this was, you know, conducted with 82 people, 82 employees that work in that field. And we saw they earn around, let me annote that so that we can see. They earn around 220,000 naira every month times 12. Who has a calculator? So that means every year, annual, what are they getting? Someone should leave that in the comments. 220 times 12. 220 times 12. So that's for someone that is just starting in. Let me take a look at my calculator. Nobody is helping me. Someone wrote 2640. Okay, 2.6 million. Is that true? Let me check. Okay, yeah, 2.6 million, Marian. Okay, yes, that's true. Thank you so much, Marian. So you see the salaries at that basic level, and then it goes on and on. I know some people that are even paid 1 million every month, but they are in more senior roles, and it depends on, you know, what you're coming to do and the funding, you know, for that particular project and so on. Okay, so that's our salary scale. Then career paths. Sorry, I've skipped one. Program director. So what does a program director with M&E focus do? He develops and manages the M&E office. He hires staff. You see, he's at the senior level. He guides all project components. So he's in charge of every planning. You know, works with stakeholders to develop relevant M&E systems, conducts or coordinates with funding agencies and partners on project strategy, conducts ongoing management of the I don't know, that's the typo, operations of the M&E team, then communicates with both internal, external team members and stakeholders. So that's for the program director. High level, like someone in a senior role. Then you have the M&E coordinator. The M&E coordinator works with the director, officers, and other relevant staff to guide you know, the implementation of the M&E strategy. May focus on one project or multiple projects. Guides team and internal stakeholders implementing the project. Drafts reports, conducts training with team members implementing M&E systems, then prepares reports, visits projects, works with project teams. So that's for the M&E coordinator. Of course, this may change depending on the organizations. Then you have the M&E officer role, the one we just saw with 220,000 as a salary. He reviews. Sorry, are we together? Okay, Ibukun, welcome. Please do mute yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Deepo, Abola, you're welcome. Please, let's mute ourselves. I'm not sure she knows her sound is on. Okay, let me go on. M&E officer reviews and revises the M&E strategy, including the log frame, what I just showed us now. monitors project activities, expenditures, and progress. Then identifies indicators and questions the project the project seeks to answer. Please do turn off your mic. Okay, let me just see if I can do that. Okay. Okay, so let me continue. So the M&E officer, like I said, reviews the log frame, monitors project activities, expenditures, progress. So this one is like, this one is like the person that is into all the tiny details, and all of that. Identifies indicators and questions the project seeks to answer. Reviews existing M&E systems. Yes, I tried to mute, but I don't know why. I've tried to mute. Okay, I think I've done it properly. Okay, I think it's quieter. I'm sorry about that. So communicates with project and M&E team about progress and reporting, organizes and conducts training, and then prepares and maintains the database, so like your ODK tools and all of that. So these are some roles, the M&E person would carry out. So I hope we got value from that. So we talked about the program director, the M&E coordinator, the M&E officer or field staff. So you can find yourself in any of these divides, as you would, depending on your skills and, things you would want to build on. So there we go with our main presentation. We have an offer for you. These days, everybody is learning online, and Ritetrac is not left out. On our online school, we have a basic M&E masterclass. It's a first place for you to start. We also have the monitoring and evaluation practitioner workshop, which we conduct, both online and physically in classrooms. Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and then online, you could be anywhere to access it. So our offer for you is, I think we're giving a 20% off this particular training. Is valid till May 11th, 2020. It's a good place, for you to start. You can access payment by, you could chat with me after this session on WhatsApp on my number. I'll drop my number on the chat and we will take it from there. So it's Q&A time once again. Like I said, I'm watching our time. Q&A time. If you have any questions, please feel free. It's a great time to drop your questions. And if you would want to contact us, I'll drop our WhatsApp, our official WhatsApp number, and we would communicate with you afterwards. So questions, comments, feedback, it's a good time. Are we still here? It's time for questions. So if you want to leave us a feedback, I've dropped the feedback link in the comments. I think we're muted. Okay, let me just turn that on. Thank you, Marian. Okay, so I think I've unmuted those that may want to. Questions, feedback, comments.
Thank you. Right back.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Ma.
Thank you. Who is speaking now?
Good job.
Okay.
I wanted to say, could you paint a scenario for us?
Okay.
On your first meeting with the organization, and they need you to provide service with respect to monitoring and evaluation.
Okay.
What would be your discussion like? Just off the head, huh?
Okay, first of all, you must understand the goal of the project, isn't it? So the first one is to capture the goal of the project, understand the requirements, what are the inputs to this, just like I described with the, oh my goodness, someone's microphone. Oh my God.
Probably you should mute everyone.
Let me mute everyone, yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm not sure the person knows the microphone was, turned off. Okay, so let me unmute you, Dom. So like I was saying, gather your understanding of the project. That's the first place to start from. What do we want to solve with this project? Because, projects are designed to solve a problem, so what are we trying to solve? So you understand it from that viewpoint. Design, just like you will, the project plan, but then add your log frame. Log frames will help you with the M&E activity. Understand what are your inputs, activities, outputs expected, outcomes expected, and so on. And then, further discussions with them. What kind of data would you be looking at? What kind of evaluations would you conduct? First of all, you would also conduct your baseline evaluation, midterm, end of project evaluation, because you need to constantly communicate these evaluations. Like I said earlier, midterm, if you're conducting midterm and you notice we are veering off the goal of that project, you retrace your steps backwards. Okay. Yes, so that's the first place to start. And then you can design templates that would work for them. Have your M&E plan templates designed, meeting plans, your timesheets for people that are going on field, and all of that. Then you design your data, like if you're using ODK, you design how the type of data you're going to collect from what type of audience. Then design things like stakeholder management. How would you manage your stakeholders? How would you engage them? Imagine if you're going into a community, a village in Langtang, Plateau State. I see a lot of Plateau State people are here, and you're designing, something for the community. How would you engage that community? How would you make the beneficiaries of your project participate with you? So it's a whole gamut of different things to do, but I hope you get the drift.
Yes, I did. Okay. Now one more question. Okay. Now, how do you charge for such a job? Like you're not government, you're a consultant. How do you charge? Maybe like 4% or 10%? Or how do you go about the cost analysis, the financials of?
Okay, first of all, if you're going to work with volunteers, you would also give something to the volunteers, for them to feed, move around, and all of that. Then if you're paying for a tool, maybe a software tool, you have to figure that and add that in. You must know your billable rate as a consultant. What's your, I know you may not do per hour billing with them, but if you work with them and you're giving them 36 hours in a month, you should be able to know, okay, this is how much I will bill my 36 hours. Then look at the level of effort. the value you're bringing to the table. So all of that would cushion you. And then you could do a survey. Also, you could do a private survey with people in, you know, a similar kind of role and find out what the benchmark cost should be. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Now, can I ask one more question?
Don't. You're asking many questions. Go ahead.
Okay, like like for PMP, there is a body that regulates or that manages the operations and activities of a PMP holder, or maybe a cost analyst and stuff. Do you have such for M&E experts?
It's a new field. It's still growing.
Okay.
It's still growing. So as it grows, you know, more things would come of it, associations, you know, maybe a globally recognized certification and all of that. But at this, at the level it is, it's still a growing field, surely.
Okay.
So any other questions from others? Nobody is speaking. Or is he speaking for all of us?
I can ask one more.
Yes, please feel free.
Okay. How will M&E impact the current global economic challenge that we have in our nation? Like, I'm sure you understand what I mean.
With the pandemic, or
yes.
Okay.
How will it impact that positively?
Okay. First of all, whatever we do must be monitored. You know, no blowing of numbers, you know, or downplaying of numbers. So we must start from that place of being authentic about what we report. You understand? And then make sure that we are checking in on, okay, if we introduce a new strategy, like the other day, I saw the NCDC DG talk about looking for strategies and low-hanging fruits. So I think whatever strategy they are taking, they must also, you know, monitor and evaluate it. Is it working? Do your as-is survey, your baseline survey before you introduce that strategy. What was it looking like? After you introduced it, midterm, you know, what was it looking like? So it's a numbers game. We must look at the numbers. I think countries that are fighting the pandemic thoroughly well, like someone says they're all females. Sorry, no gender talk in here. But I think sometimes when you're paying close attention to your numbers, you know, you would know the root cause of, okay, why is there more spread? You know, should we tell them to sit back at home or practice their social distancing or practice wearing of the masks, using soap or sanitizers, you know, and all of that. And then you keep checking. So it's a continuous process of keep checking, you know, till we get to the end of it. That's what I could add. I think anyone with any, you know, contribution can also add to this question. Yes, Stanley says, hope we'll continue with this class. Yes, we have both the basic class, which we have an offer on 20% off, and then the practitioner class, you know, which you can also do online. We have the pre-recorded classes for now. I should unmute you. Okay, let me do that. I thoroughly enjoyed this class. I hope we did. Please, if you did, leave us feedback. We would love to hear from you. Mariam, go ahead.
Hi, yes, I was just going to oh, please, you have to unmute that person.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I go ahead now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to add to what you said in terms of like, you know, like monitoring. I was just going to say that it's an iterative process. So like you say, you keep checking, and because now after the pandemic as well, we're going to have more agile because things are changing. So that process becomes even smaller. You know, like the plan when you're checking at each point in time because you'll have closer touching points as well. That's what I mean.
Okay, go ahead. I think
so the cycle, because the cycle is smaller. So you do the project management is on a smaller scales because things are moving really quickly. So those iterative points are actually getting smaller. So you know, when you have like a longer project, because you have a longer plan, the projects, because things are changing digitally, you're having shorter projects because you can't wait for such long things planned out. So what I'm saying is that iterative cycle you just talked about, it gets a bit smaller. It's just like a shorter cycle. So at each point you're checking, testing, and then you move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like even the vaccine they talked about. I think I heard where someone says it will take 20 years to get the best one, you know, but then we don't have 20 years.
Yes.
So they just have to work like in sprints.
Exactly.
Check in 2 weeks, check in
Exactly.
what is working, what is not working, you know, and keep moving on.
Pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that sprints, working agile, you know, projects are going to become more agile, and you're going to be working in shorter sprints, definitely. That's what I wanted to add.
All right, thank you. That's a good one. Thank you, everyone. So in the absence of no more questions, comments, should I end the show? Some people never spoke on this program. I do not know why. Dong, you're raising your hand. Go ahead. You cannot. Let me unmute you. Okay.
Okay, it's me again. Is there a standard template? I know project varies, no? Deliverables vary, but is there a template that is standard? Where money?
Yes, there are. We provide that in the full class. Sorry?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's not something that can be shared here.
No.
Okay. Right.
Who says their mic is muted? Bisola, I've unmuted you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Bisola.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the class. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you so much. That is beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so in the absence of any other thing, Dotun says she
we
would
can't
have
have enough
loved
of
to
this.
learn. Yes, you will learn more. I think you can join the fuller class. I've left the WhatsApp number over there, the email, so you could contact us. We could work out a plan for you.
Yeah, this month is my birthday, so I was hoping I could get it as a birthday.
Birthday plan. Okay, we'll do a birthday plan. We'll talk with you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
Good job.
All right. Thank you so much. And as you go to work, remember to keep staying safe. God bless you.
We will. Bless you.
Bye.
Bless you.